This video is the second part of a two-part series on leadership archetypes. If you missed the first video, there's a link below, so check that out. And if you were able to catch it last week, thank you for joining me again this week. I'm happy to have you. So this video also is about a second personal anecdote. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience. And this one's a little bit more touchy. So please keep in mind that I'm sharing this from personal experience and with an open hand, open heart, open mind, all right? So I was at a conference last year and I had the privilege of watching a panel of all female executives. And it was electric. I mean, just the energy in that room left me with a high. It was unbelievable to just listen to these women and to hear their stories about shattering glass ceilings and overcoming adversity, and even in ways that I, as a female, couldn't always relate to. Some of them had to overcome obstacles that I will never be able to fully appreciate because I didn't have to overcome them myself. And I'm sure a lot of you watching this probably can relate to that, having to overcome some obstacles that other people just can't relate to. But I still appreciate them and respect them nonetheless, and I celebrate them for their success. And this video was inspired by the fake it till you make it phrase. Have you heard that? Have you given some advice? Have you received that advice? Well, in this context, it rubbed me the wrong way. So these panelists got to the Q&A section and we were talking about personal branding, and someone from the audience raised her hand and she asked, as an introvert, how can I establish my authority and my personal brand in the workplace? My professional brand, my personal brand. She wanted to be able to step out into her own in the workplace, but as an introvert. And across the board, we're sitting in front of a group of extroverted, driven, highly successful executive women in a very competitive, male-dominated space. And they were like, well, I'm an extrovert. And we had a couple that were like, well, I'm an introvert. But they all said, fake it till you make it, essentially. And the other thing that happened is we heard these women who had to break down the barriers of being bold and in some cases outspoken, strong women. And I bet you can imagine maybe the less than flattering words that they were named over the years, either to their face or behind their back. And so in their minds, being meek, being soft-spoken, being introverted, being small, being quiet, being introverted wasn't necessarily a strength. And I would argue that as an introverted female, you can be a leader and establish your own brand and your own authority in the workplace. And it can be a superpower because of those observation skills that an extrovert will never be able to tap into. You listen and observe before you speak, and therefore every word you say is strong and to the point and impactful. People listen, and that is incredibly powerful. So for you introverts, have courage. You can be your introverted self. It may take you a little bit longer for your voice to be heard, but I assure you when it is, it will mean something. And for all you bold, beautiful, successful women, keep in mind that there are other women who might define themselves as timid and soft-spoken. And just like you unapologetically should be bold, brazen, outspoken, same with the introverted, soft-spoken women. And to be a leader, to establish your authority in an organization shouldn't be defined by if you're introverted or extroverted, and you shouldn't have to fake it to make it. In fact, there's a book, and I'll share that link below, called Quiet. I love it. It's all about introverted leaders and them building very successful empires. And they use that introversion as their strength. So again, as we're having conversations and making Jedi statements and talking about inclusivity and equity and diversity, justice, keep in mind that not every leader looks the same, behaves the same, and they shouldn't. Why would we want that? That's boring. All right, so thank you for hanging with me. And again, I was pretty hesitant to share this story because I have, again, tremendous amount of respect for these women. I just want the other introverted women and introverted people in the world to know that you have a place in leadership as well. And of course, if you have a different opinion or you want to expand upon these thoughts, please leave your comments down below. Thanks, y'all.